Hi everyone, welcome to the Hack the Hackers channel. Today's topic is password management security. Let's get started. In the last video on firewall security and audit, I forgot to mention one of the best practices that I want to address is that the access control list needs to be reviewed at least quarterly, and TACACS needs to be enabled on the firewall so that it creates AAA, that is authentication, authorization and accountability for the administrators. Also enable the banner in the firewall authentication header so that it creates a deterrent for the access. We are starting this channel for all viewers who wants to learn basics of information security and get relevant skills in this area for finding suitable job in this area. Through this channel, we will also educate the viewers on life securing information security and cyber security skills. Anyone who is beginner till expert level will find these videos interesting, as well as for the users of digital era, one must know the basics of information security and secure the applications, secure assets, secure transactions, secure information, rights and privacy of data. We need to know what is cyber crimes, what are the password, what is a password, why the password, etc. There are various security challenges at various levels. As the digital and internet penetration and spread is taking place across the world, not only in urban areas but also in rural areas, including developing and underdeveloped countries. It is prime important to know how to be secure in the digital world in cloud, IoT, AI and ML, in using mobile, in securing apps, in internet world, in using desktops and laptops, in using financial and banking transactions through various apps to avoid phishing attacks and other attacks and password management, etc. This is Presley and I am the presenter in this channel. This channel is named as Hack the Hackers as it deals with the security in general life, prevents the users from being duped or cheated in this digital era. About the presenter, having 14 years of experience into information security and have advanced master's degree in mechanical engineering from State University of New York at Buffalo. This channel, as I said, will address most of the things in layman's language for beginners in information security and will be interesting to the experts. This video will provide the guide to the password management security as it is elaborate and comprehensive. As I said, I have published a couple of ebooks in Amazon, Kindle version of Information Security for All and paperback version, The World of Information Security. We have started our startup Digital Express Online, which deals with digital express and cyber security and also digital business. Also get connected to me professionally on the LinkedIn. So coming to this slide, we have covered about the channel just now, and this slide addressed briefly the table of contents. We will see what and why the password, what is authentication and authorization, multi-factor authentication, authentication servers, SSO, that is single sign-on, authentication types, types of password, password policies, password management best practices, common attacks and how to prevent them. Then next we will see what is CAPTCHA and its types. What we will see next, we will see what is passwordless world. Finally, at the end, about the next topic and about the subscriptions. What is a password? Secret phrase or code consisting of combination of alphanumeric, uppercase and lowercase characters and special characters that provide access to certain services or devices or assets and gets authenticated and authorized for a specific access, or deny the access if it is wrong and known only to the password creator and nobody else. Why do we need a password? Password use has lot of benefits, such as provides access to the right and known person. It enables access to the devices, assets and services. It ensures who has access to and what level of access one has, provides data security and privacy to the assets, devices, and services. It ensures that the assets, devices, and services belong to the genuine person. It denies access to the unauthorized people or services. It ensures that nobody can claim rights on assets or services or devices. Finally, it enhances the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the assets, devices, and services. So what is authentication? Authentication is the process of providing access to assets, devices, or services by the way of unique credentials such as username and passwords. What is authorization? Authorization is a way of providing what level of access to which assets or devices or services. For example, server administrator will have full access and to a particular asset, that is server. We will see what are authentication servers. For example, we have Kerberos authentication. Authentication servers are AD, LDAP, KDC, or eDirectory. Radius authentication, the authentication server is Radius server. TACACS, it is TACACS server. HTTP authentication, it is web server through API. SAML authentication, it identifies the identifying providing server. Okay, coming to this slide, single factor authentication is one factor authentication generally using username and password. However, it is very weak in nature. Dual factor authentication, generally two factors, username, password, and OTP or PIN or question and answer, etc. Multi-factor authentication, two or more than two factors using password, PIN, OTP, CAPTCHA, etc. What is a single sign-on or SSO? The single sign-on is having authentication only once for multiple applications, device, and services. SSO maintains a session for longer time so that you can access many applications. Advantages: authentication once can be simple way of remembering a single complex password and all the application devices are accessible. Generally used inside the private network. Disadvantages: it is a single point of failure, that is, if your password is wrong or blocked, you cannot access any applications. And the second one is, if the account is compromised, it is a threat to all the applications and hacker can gain control of all the devices and applications. There are three ways of ensuring multi-factor authentication. What you remember, that is such as a password. What you are, such as fingerprint, iris recognition, and facial recognition. What you have, such as phone authentication with SIM card, credit debit card, and swipe card, etc. How does authentication works? The user enters the username and password in the client machine. These are encrypted and transmitted to the authentication server. The server checks the username and password whether they are present. If both the credential matches the ones in the server sends response to the client machine and provides access. If any one of them does not match, the server sends the error report to the client machine. Next we will see Kerberos authentication. Kerberos is a Windows-based authentication. Client sends the request. How does it works? Client sends the request. The key distribution center or KDC checks the credentials. The KDC creates a ticket, that is ticket granting ticket for the requested assets or devices or services. The KDC sends the ticket to the client machine. Client uses the ticket to authenticate the request. This is how the Kerberos authentication works. You can also see that in the network in the diagram attached in this slide. In this slide, we will see how to get web authenticated for a particular application. As shown in the diagram, HTTP client makes a request to the web server. The server sends back 401 unauthorized code with the authentication header. Client displays a dialog box to take username and password as input. Users enters the username and password. Client then sends the authentication header to the web server. If the credentials are correct, it sends a 200 status code with authenticated information. If the credentials are wrong, it sends a 401 unauthorized error code with authentication header to try again. What is SAML? SAML is open standard and stands for Security Assertion Markup Language. This uses XML based authentication and is widely used in cloud. How does SAML work? It exchanges authentication and authorization data between the identity provider and service provider for the applications in the cloud. The diagram shows the SAML exchange taking place. TACACS provides AAA authentication, authorization, and accountability. It is a protocol used for AAA to access the network devices. TACACS stands for Terminal Access Controller Access Control System. It is a TCP-based protocol that is connection-oriented and has handshake between the host and the network devices. Let us see how Radius authentication works. As shown in the diagram, Radius is a AAA protocol for authentication users with three authentication protocols such as Extensible Authentication Protocol, that is EAP, Password Authentication Protocol, that is PAP, and Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol, that is CHAP, of applications to get network access and IP mobility. Radius stands for Remote Authentication Dial-in Service. Radius is a client-server protocol. The client is network access server that is prompting user to enter username and password. This is sent by the Radius client to the Radius server. Upon the response such as accept, reject, or challenge, the services are provided or denied to the Radius clients. The communication between the NAS, that is Network Access Server, and the Radius server takes place with User Datagram Protocol or UDP, which is a connectionless communication. There is no handshake between the NAS and the Radius server. Now let us see the differences between the SAML, TACACS, Radius, and Kerberos authentication. SAML is generally used in cloud applications. TACACS is used for getting network devices access. Radius is used for network devices and services access. And Kerberos is a Windows authentication. SAML is XML based. TACACS is TCP based. Radius is UDP based, that is User Datagram Protocol. And Kerberos is LDAP, that is RFC 3244 and RFC 4547. SAML is AA, that is it provides only authentication and authorization. TACACS provides AAA, that is authentication, accountability, and authorization. Radius is AAA, authentication, accountability, and authorization. Kerberos provides only authentication and authorization. SAML is connection oriented and has handshake. Connection oriented, TACACS is connection oriented and has handshake. Radius is connectionless, no handshake. Kerberos is connection oriented and has handshake. SAML does encrypted credentials. TACACS encrypts only payloads. Radius encrypts passwords only. Kerberos encrypts the credentials. TACACS uses identity provider and service provider. SAML uses identity provider and service provider. TACACS uses client server technology. Radius is client server technology. And Kerberos uses key distribution center, ticket granting service, and ticket granting ticket. Let us see different types of passcode used in the authentication and authorization. There are different types of passcodes used. They are passwords, iris recognition, that is iris in the eye, Face recognition, recognizing the facial features. PIN, that is a 4-digit or 6-digit numbers. OTP, again transferred PIN, that is again 4-digit numbers or 6-digit number. Thumb recognition or fingerprint recognition. Pattern, a particular pattern which is used widely in mobiles. Challenge and response, and Q&A, that is question and answer, which is similar to challenge and response. Let us see the password policies from the slide. A typical password policy consists of minimum of 8 characters long so that it cannot be broken, or it consists of alphanumeric characters and not starting with a number, at least one uppercase and one lowercase alphabet, has at least one special characters, no dictionary word or any word from username, history of 12 previous characters. Passwords are not allowed to make the password policy stringent and avoid brute force attack. If there are multiple policies such as domain policy and local policy, the stringent policy of the two is applicable. Minimum age is 1 day to avoid repeated use of the password, and maximum age is 90 days, after which it should be changed. Okay. If you have to display the credentials, then mask most of the characters and let only couple of characters to be unmasked so that genuine user only identifies the characters. Hashing with SHA 3.0 must be used to store the credentials in the database, and MD5 hashing is considered weak hashing. Sometimes to store keys, you need encryption so that you can use RSA 2048-bit encryption for encrypting the keys. Next, change the password periodically so that brute force attack can be eliminated. Do not share the password to anyone as it is a secret. Secret shared even to a single person is no longer a secret. Do not write down the password. Have simple way of memorizing the password. Have a complex password and sign out of the application when you are finishing it. Some of the common attacks for the passwords. Phishing is way of collecting the credentials for malicious intent through email and malicious website forms to get the credentials. Awareness is used to prevent phishing attack and to be careful on what you are doing. Brute force method is way of getting the password using a computer program that tries to match the password from millions of combinations. To prevent this, you need to have complex password. Session hijacking or middleman attack is an attack by which a hacker captures the session with decrypting the session keys. To prevent this, have a proxy or stateful inspection firewall, have less time for the session, and have encrypted communication. Social engineering, this is used to get the credentials through duping over the phone. To prevent this, do not reveal the credentials to anyone. Mobile phone phishing, it is also called M-phishing, is a phishing through mobile. To avoid this, do not click on unknown links or download unwanted apps, and do not browse the malicious sites, and put antivirus software in the mobile. Keylogger attack is an attack that captures the keystrokes by malicious software that is installed in the device. To prevent this, have a malware protection program that identifies keyloggers in the devices and quarantines it. Password spraying is kind of a brute force attack where the commonly known password phrase in the thousands of numbers are used by the software to match the password. To prevent this, use complex strong password policies. Credential surfing is an attack that is used by hackers to get credentials because of the tendency of the users to have same password for multiple accounts. To prevent this, use uncommon and different password to many accounts. Dictionary attack is used by the hackers to find the password through software program by using all the dictionary words. Do not use dictionary word in your password. Rainbow table attack is an attack by computing known hash values of millions of passwords and by employing common hash algorithms. To prevent these hash values must be kept secret in the database and restrict access to it. So what is CAPTCHA? It is a computer program designed to prevent robots or bot or software to enter credentials in the authentication header. As shown in the figure, there are two types of CAPTCHAs, image and character-based CAPTCHAs. So what is passwordless world? Here we use one of these following. For example, if you use USB key and open the devices or get access to the devices or services or assets, then it is passwordless. And you can also use facial recognition, iris scan, or even fingerprint for passwordless world. Coming to the end of the session, our next session will be fundamentals of cloud and its principle. How do you upload to cloud? In case I missed anything in this session, then you may subscribe to my channel, to comment, and I will clarify all your doubts. Share with your friends. Sharing is caring. Help them to learn as well. Click the bell icon and get my next video notification. Thank you. Looking forward to stay connected with you all. Thanks.